Hi, my name is Chuck Bachi with Three Dimensional Physical Therapy, and we have a guest here today, Dr. Malave, who's going to tell us about her integrative medical practice.
Thank you,
Dr. Malave, thanks for coming.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
So before we got started, you were telling me you have 30 years experience as a physician, and you recently left traditional medicine to start your own practice. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. I was in family medicine for almost 30. We're getting there.
My apologies.
That's okay. Well, you know what? If you include residency, it's 30. But anyway, I was in family medicine and decided that there had to be more. I just had this feeling in the gut that kept telling me, this isn't it for you. You have a bigger calling in this world. And I didn't know exactly what that was. But over time, I got tired with how medicine is run today. Sad to say.
Yeah. Well, I think I hear it a lot from patients. You know, a lot of patients feel like they're a number and not a person. Mm-hmm. And kind of we had spoke a little bit about that the last time we met. But could you kind of tell me what's different about your practice from traditional medicine?
Sure. So what's different is the reason why I was propelled into integrative medicine and not realizing that technically I was doing it all along. But one of the frustrations as a family physician was that I couldn't dedicate the time to my clients, to my patients. Now I say clients, to my patients then because of the restrictions that were imposed on me. And so I always felt like I had to scramble or try to put patients before lunchtime or at the end of the day so that I could give them that more holistic perspective. Because what people don't understand is that integrative medicine is a combination of two things. It's a combination of traditional science, which is what my family medicine, you want to call it training, provides. But you also have the lifestyle component, which includes like coaching, wellness coaching. It includes things like exercise and stress management, all these other components to give a more holistic perspective and not necessarily run from problem, here's your script, there's the door. You know, getting away from that perspective and looking at each person as an individual and not cookie cutter.
Right.
Like treating each individual the same, because let's face it, we're not the same.
Right, right.
I mean, you could literally have two diabetics eat the same banana and have two totally different results in terms of their sugar levels. You can't treat everybody the same.
Right. And you felt like traditional medicine kind of put you in a box where you had to do that, and it was a lot of almost triage, like, this is the most important problem, we have to address it with this, and then you're at the door.
And here's your medicine.
And here's your medicine. And I'll just share with you that I got into physical therapy because I was injured playing sports as a middle schooler, and when I went to physical therapy, it was the first time they said, hey, exercise is your medicine.
Yes.
And I was used to going in and it was, here's, you need your vaccine or your shot, or, you're sick, you get medicine.
Yes.
And my experience with traditional medicine was that. So I was like, oh my gosh, exercise is medicine? This is so cool. I want to do it for a living. Yeah. Let me prescribe exercise.
That's fantastic.
I mean, I see you lighting up like when I'm saying that because that's what you're like, you've been fighting the system for under 30 years.
Yeah, under 30.
But for a few decades you've been in it and you're like practicing holistic medicine, you're trying to, and you finally just said, hey, I just got to go off on my own and do it the way that is best for my patients, individualized. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
So you had told me about kind of your 11 keys to your, I guess, what would you say, 11 keys to your clinical practice? Or?
Yeah, so the basis of my practice is called Achieving a Better You, Health and Wellness. And so I have 11 keys that I consider unlock happy and healthy lives for an individual. So the first one is plant forward nutrition. I'm not vegan. I'm not vegetarian. The other thing that you'll realize about me is that I am a straight shooter. I tell it how it is. I eat meat, and I don't mean beef because beef kind of inflames me, but I eat chicken, I eat fish, I eat seafood, I eat all of it. So I'm not going to promote plant nutrition when I don't follow it. What I believe in, I follow. And so definitely plant forward. I love vegetables. So I think that if you eat more plant-based nutrition, that's beneficial. The second one is movement. That's why I lit up when you said it. And movement doesn't necessarily mean high intensity exercise. The third one is restorative sleep. As much as I don't want to admit that I used to be a 6-hour person, I realize now that I'm more like 7. Ideally, you should be getting 8 to 9. I found a huge difference just from jumping from 6 hours to 7 hours of sleep. And it has to be restorative, not where your brain is constantly in motion. The morning ritual, where you start off your day just being grateful. And at the end of the day, you definitely want to say what was the best thing that happened to you. So that also helps with sleep. The stress management is really important in order to lower your levels. Healthy connections is huge, because when you're in a toxic relationship, it increases your cortisol levels.
And that's something traditional medicine, you don't, I mean, a lot of this stuff you don't think about. It's like your PCP is not going to probably often be talking about this. And I see in traditional medicine, everything's in a silo. So you have the PCP, but correct me if I'm wrong, I think in America, only 20% of physicians are primary care, and we have 80% specialists.
A lot of specialists.
So you end up, it's a lot of referral out here, and maybe the neurologist, cardiologist, the psychologist, they're not talking to each other.
They don't, and that's
it's not
the
like
biggest,
Seinfeld. Remember the lane with the folder? That's not what it's like, but a lot of patients think like, oh, you have all this information, and you just...
No, and that's the biggest frustration with the patients, because they have so many issues that need to be addressed. They get compartmentalized, into all these specialists, but nobody's talking to each other. And a lot of times the primary gets so inundated that they don't take the time to look at all the different meds that the patients are getting, the interactions. There's so many different levels. But unfortunately, in today's society, like you said, it's your number, or you have 8 minutes, or probably even less, 5 minutes to walk in the room, take care of the problem, and out you go.
Yeah.
And that was too frustrating for me. So besides, the stress managing, I also firmly believe being in nature, getting some sun. Obviously protecting the skin, but being in nature helps those happy endorphins to definitely get you feeling better. Giving. And when I say giving, I don't mean necessarily monetarily, just saying, I love your smile, or smiling at somebody, because you never know what someone's living.
Yeah.
So that giving piece is huge. The other thing that I truly believe in is, I already mentioned gratitude. I truly believe that you have to have a belief in a higher being. For me, it's God and Jesus. Everybody's different, but that gives you hope. That I think today we all desperately need. And the last key is heal thyself. And what I mean by that is not necessarily curing your ailments, but taking your own responsibility, being your own advocate. Because if you teach somebody the exercises that they need in order to heal, if they don't do it at home, what makes you think that once a week is gonna get them to heal quicker? Or advance and improve in their range of motion? It's just not going to happen, So people really do need to take ownership and be their own advocates when it comes to their health.
One of the things, I can certainly relate to that quite a bit, particularly with the physical therapy profession. We learn in school that in the 80s and 90s, it was not uncommon for a lot of physical therapists, the sessions would be hot pack, ultrasound, cold pack.
Yes.
And I still get some scripts from some physicians that says,
the same thing.
The same thing. And it's like, it's 2025 now.
Yeah.
But some patients expect it. It's almost like a spa day. And I'm like, well, I know the literature says if you're receiving passive modalities, your outcomes are way worse. You have to be an active participant in your rehabilitation.
Absolutely.
And so the everything you're talking about really like hits home with me and the way we practice at 3D PT. But it's really nice to see like those 11 things categorized, and it's like you have your 11 pillars of health, so it's really, and how much of those were you able to do in traditional medicine,
It was hard. Like I said, I took a lot of the little bit of constrained time to cover as many of those as I could.
Right.
So I had people that followed me through the practices, and for that reason.
Because they're coming here.
They knew that when they came to see me, I would be looking at the whole picture, and it wouldn't be, you do this because I tell you to. It's more of, okay, you and I have a connection, and I'm guiding you to help yourself.
You're like coaching them. And
Yes.
it's like, because you're going to have a better outcome like if you take personal responsibility for your own health, and then you're
Absolutely.
coaching them and guiding them and providing them with like feedback. Well, can we dive into, I guess, like the stress management part of it?
Yeah, I wanted to give your viewers something to go home with.
Perfect.
Something that they could take away. Well, they're already home, but something that they can take with so that they can practice. So I'm taking one of my keys, which is the stress management. We're all under a lot of stress. Our cortisol levels are through the roof. And so using some of these techniques may help you achieve better results. So one of the things is the caffeine. We live in a society where we're so inundated with drinking lots and lots of caffeine.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
3D PT mug.
But in terms of sleep, I get it for the morning part, but in terms of sleep, drinking caffeine is not going to help to quiet down the mind and to help with your sleep. So when it comes to sleep time, you really do need to lay off the caffeine, and you also need to lower or quiet your mind. And so sometimes if you've gotten into an argument, you're upset about something, you can't sleep because all you do is you rehash it, or you have that laundry list of things that you have to do, and you're like, oh my God, I can't sleep because I have to do this, and the other thing. Take a piece of paper or your phone, in the notepad, just enough to write it and put it away, not to scroll and activate the brain, but to jot down what it is that you have to do the next day so you quiet down your brain. Another great thing that I learned was something called the gratitude alphabet. So when you've been under a lot of stress, start with the letter A. Find something that you're grateful for that starts with the letter A and why. And you keep going. And before you know it, you've calmed down the brain enough so you can sleep, because sleep is critical. So your cortisol levels go down. If you're in a stressful situation or a stressful environment, let's say you can't stand your job and you're like constantly stressed. I know you're not. You love your job. But if you're in that situation, one of the things that helps is called boxed breathing. So you slowly take in to a count of 4. Hold your breath for a count of 4. Then let it go for a count of 4. And you hold it again for a count of 4, and that's considered one cycle. And you can do that for 4 times. Ideally, if you want to and you want to get really good, I also suggest it for patients that have breathing problems. If you can go from 4 to 8 over time, it really helps to increase the oxygen to the lower part of your lungs, and it really does help. I've had a lot of patients that either have asthma or COPD, and they say, you know what, the breathing techniques really helped me. So something else on the side. Gratitude, as I mentioned. In the morning when you first wake up, 3 things that you're grateful for. It really does help to set your day off in the right state of mind. And at the end of the day, as I mentioned previously or with other times when I'm with clients, at the end of the night, what was the best thing that happened to you? because it forces you to look for something during the day so that at night you can shut down your brain again. Setting boundaries. No is a complete sentence, and many of us don't follow that rule.
Yeah.
Don't.
I'm guilty of that myself.
So you end up getting stressed. You end up feeling overwhelmed, resentful at times. So remembering that no is a complete sentence and that tomorrow is another day. You can always do it tomorrow or a month from now or whatever, and don't get so overloaded. So setting boundaries is huge. And the other thing is, as one of my other keys, the spirituality component, praying. If you're under a lot of stress, pray. One more that I just remembered that I used to do when I was stressed out at work previously, I would go outside for 5 minutes, sometimes even 3, just to open the door, feel the sun, and it would reset my mood.
Yeah.
I could feel the stress levels going down, and I feel energized enough to get back in the door, back into the dark room or wherever I was, and I felt energized. So I hope that those techniques help you to manage your stress in today's society.
Well, those are great techniques. They seem very simple, and I think what I like most about it is your recommendations to people watching this is take control of your own life, right?
Yes.
It's like these are things that you can do for yourself. It's not a drug that's being prescribed to you.
Not at all.
It's not other people. It's taking personal accountability of your own health and taking action.
Yes.
So thanks so much for coming today and
Thank you
talking
so
to me.
much for having me.
It's great to have you.
Likewise.